There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Hello, people of the interwebs. Turn that down a bit. Rich Adams says, "Yeah, I made it. I'm in a much different time slot from what I usually am on Saturdays. So, but on this particular Saturday, on this holiday weekend, American holiday weekend here anyway, Memorial Day, I got up and went and had lunch with my mother, as my wife is out of town with her mother right now. So I went and had lunch with my mom and ate some Mexican food and ran to Lowe's to get some stuff and swung by the pharmacy and came home and got set up for this. And so I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit, and then I'm going to go take a nap on the couch with my dog for a while, and then she and I are going to christen my new fire pit that I just had built. So who all we got here? Casey Strange, Rich McAdams, Paul Leonard Ewing, Thunder Falcon, Timothy Blanc, and John McDonough, Mike St. Croix. How's everybody doing on this lovely Memorial Day weekend? Yay, nay, yes, no, maybe so. Anybody got plans? Anybody planning on doing anything stupid? Anybody just gonna chill? Anybody going to the race? That kind of stuff. Mitchell Tilley is here. Mike St. Croix says, "Peachy grilling steaks." Yep, I'm gonna be grilling hot dogs and burgers and peppers and all kinds of stuff. That's why I went to Lowe's, because I had to get some more. I had to get more firewood and more charcoal. Because I got a feeling I'm gonna run out this weekend. So, Joe Trey says, "Rain all weekend here in Massachusetts." It rained like hell all day yesterday and all night last night, and then finally it cleared up. And it's supposed to be pretty clear, though chilly. Actually, like 50s and 60s. Weird. All weekend here, which is 50s and 60s here in Indianapolis on Memorial Day is really, really unusual. Paul Leonard Ewing says he got rehearsals all weekend. Thunder Falcon says just got back from 2 guitar stores. Nothing wrong with that. I will not be frequenting any guitar stores this weekend. Marcus Fighter says best weather in West Germany. And Rich is going kayaking in the Pacific Ocean. That sounds like fun. I used to kayak a little bit. Joe Trey says it's 46 degrees right now. I don't know what part of the world that might be in, but here in the Midwest, normally it's 80s on Memorial Day weekend. Pardon me. But that storm that came through yesterday cooled everything off in a big, big hurry. 46 degrees, New Hampshire, he says. Oh well. Anybody score any cool Memorial Day deals anywhere? I got a couple of them, but Massachusetts, a lot of you guys up there from the New England area, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. Sorry. Let me stop yawning. Jack Collins says, "Happy Memorial Day from Louisiana." I don't know what goes on, and I mean, I know I got a pretty good idea what goes on in other parts of the world, but here in Indianapolis, man, Memorial Day, this is like the center of the world on Memorial Day, because the Indianapolis 500 takes place this weekend every year, tomorrow to be exact, and so it's a little bit different, this year because of COVID. I think they're only allowing, there is going to be fans. They are letting people attend, though I think it's like 50% capacity. Last year they had to move it back, and they held it late with no fans in the stands, which was really weird. But this year they're letting fans back in, so that'll be cool. I don't know if that means that they're going to, I wonder if that means they're actually going to air it on TV here live. Usually that's the thing about it. We never get to watch. If you don't want to go to the race, you don't get to see it until after it's over, and you've likely already heard the results at that point anyway, because they black it out here in Indianapolis, so we don't get to watch it until after it's over. Kind of sucks. So, but it is what it is. So, and it's a pretty big deal. Marcus Fighter says, have some coffee. I think I need to have some sleep instead, to be honest. I have not gotten a lot of sleep the last couple of, the last several days. Today I woke up a little bit earlier than I probably should have. Randall Vandergriff says, Guild semi-hollow body, $5.99 with trim, $4.99 traditional Gibson style Guild made by Samick, $500. Thoughts on both budget Guild guitars? I like Guild guitars, man. I think I've always liked Guild. I think they make great instruments, and I think they are honestly probably one of the best things that happened to them was when they got bought out by Cordoba. Fender had owned them for quite a while, and really the only reason that Fender bought them was so that they could pull Guild's guitars down off the walls in stores and put theirs up instead. That was the only reason why Fender bought Guild, and they just didn't do much with the brand at all. I mean, they basically shelved it for several years. That's basically what happened. Cordoba bought it and really completely revived it. They're making some mid-range import models, and they're making some some higher-end import models, and they're making some really, really high-end, expensive, American-made stuff as well. 12, acoustics in particular. The Guild is probably best known for their 12-string guitars. If you can think of a recording in the 60s and 70s that had a 12-string acoustic guitar on it, chances are it was probably a Guild. And that's really where their legacy is. And that's the kind of stuff that they're back to building here in not just in the U.S., but their import stuff as well. But those American-made Guilds, was that F55 or something like that? I can't remember what it's called. I got to play one a couple years ago. My God, it sounded good. Those are great guitars, man. I love Guild. I love Guild guitars. I don't own one, but I do enjoy them. I do enjoy them. You guys are quiet today. Yes, I'm kind of quiet today, too. All right. Well, I guess if nobody has anything else to talk about, I guess I don't either. So, did you eat the Marshall yet? No, I did not eat the Marshall yet. No, that was just some douchebag troll that I was putting on blast. Joe Trey says, just woke up when your alert sounded. I'll tell you what. I may pull the trigger on this a little bit too early. I think I'm gonna go take my nap now and then come back and hang out with you guys here a little bit later on. And at the moment, I just let's see. Marcus Fighter says, "Do you have a suggestion for a good cab sim? Just bought a hot tone Omni IR, but not satisfied." I would. I mean, right now, the Two Notes Captor X is probably the best thing going right now. That's got IRs, it's got attenuation, it's got DI boxes. I mean, it's a really really handy tool to use. Even if the IRs sound great in it, by the way. But Captor X is. I mean, it won. What do they call that award? Best new gear of the year or something like that. For 2020, I think it was. Whenever it was, it came out. Yeah, I think it was 2020. Just last year. I don't have one yet, but I plan to get one because I got this stack of amps sitting here right next to me that I really, really I need to upgrade my interface and get something bigger with more inputs, and then I need one of those so that I can use all these amps. But that's probably the direction I would go if you don't want to spend that kind of money. The Moore radar is not that bad. Or the Moore radar actually is pretty good, rather. And the Digitech cab driver is also pretty good cab sim. I own both of them and I enjoy both of them. Mitchell Tilley says, "I live close to Daytona. I can't imagine it being blacked out." I don't know if that's everywhere, but the Indy 500 is, like I said, it's a big, big deal. And that thing's broadcast globally every year, all over the world. So, obviously, if they want to make their money, they need to sell tickets. So they don't. That's why they black it out. They want people to go to the race. One-Eyed Jack. Blue Chip Picks. So One-Eyed Jack says, "Have you tried the Blue Chip Picks? And also, have you tried the Forever Pick wooden guitar picks? If so, what are your thoughts? Are they worth the money?" I've actually demoed the Forever picks, the Forever wooden guitar picks, and they're interesting. Actually, I like them quite a bit. There is my regular go-to guitar pick. No, it's not. But they are interesting. They do produce some unique tones, and it's definitely a different feel from a nylon or a Ultex or something like that. So the Blue Chip picks I am not familiar with. Mikey Gabbard says, "Finally pulled the trigger, got my first Gibson. Congratulations, man. What'd you get?" My niece hurts says, "Hello, please insert metal scream here." I'm not screaming much of anything at the moment. I'm really, really tired all of a sudden. Mike St. Croix says, "I had a gremlin today. iRig had an awful hissing, popping sound. Spent a couple hours trying to figure out why, and then out of nowhere it went away." Interesting. Cool. Mikey Gabbard's Slash model Les Paul November Burst. That was the one they had out just last year, right? I think that's like the most recent one. Gibson have done so many different Slash models, man. I can't keep up with them. Regardless, man, congrats. I'm glad to hear you scored your first Gibson. Gargoyle 84 says, "What mic do you use for your live streams? Your voice is really really clear." This is an Audio Technica AT2020, just a regular old $100 condenser microphone. I usually use my Aston Stealth that's out on the other desk. I actually like that mic better, even though it's I tend to run it a little bit hotter than I probably should. But But this is an Audio-Technica AT 2020. So, JG Mopar says, I'm glad I came back. I didn't think the show was on. I meant to post something on the community tab earlier and tell you guys I was going to be running a little bit behind, but it didn't. I just never got that far. I was going to do it when I told myself I was going to do it. When I got to Lowe's, and then I got to Lowe's, and that parking lot was packed. So, and I found a place to park. By the time I got to it, I forgot all about it. So. My knees hurts as I'm looking into a new amp. I'd like to be able to run it straight into my DAW/interface if possible, but would like something that sounds nice. My Vox is at my sister's in another state. I would get Laney IRT Studio, dude. There's nothing else out there on the market that checks as many boxes like that. For that particular application, there's nothing else out there that I found that checks that many boxes. Certainly not in that price range. So. Hey, JG Mopar in the hitting up the PayPal fund this afternoon. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. First one to crack the cherry. I was getting ready to jump off of here, and then all of a sudden you guys got chatty and started asking questions. So we'll see how long I can go. Let's see. William Silva says, "Sup, Robert? How much better is a Warmoth neck than a classic vibe? Would you say, or at all? Warmoth compared to a classic vibe neck? Oh, there's no comparison. Warmoth are known for, are known for some of the best fretwork in the industry. The fretwork alone is enough. Is probably enough. If you're thinking about upgrading the neck on a Squire guitar, the neck alone on a Warmoth is probably, the fretwork alone is enough to justify spending the money. Now the thing if you do that, and then eventually you go to Warmoth or wherever and decide to swap out the body, and then you wind up building your own guitar, be prepared, because those Warmoth Partsocaster build things, they don't hold their value very well at all in the used market. So those turn into a labor of love pretty quick, not a labor of money. So if you go up, swapping out a neck for a Warmoth neck on something, be prepared. My knees hurt says, I never mentioned the price, but I'm not Bill Gates. No, I'm not Bill Gates either. But I check the used market. You can probably find one for $400-500 if I had to guess. I haven't seen what those things are selling for now, but check the used market, and I bet you'll find you might find something that's a little bit closer to the price range you want to be in. Daniel Burr says, I think solid state is better for going direct in because noise reduction, but personally I need the tubes for the tone. I don't know, man. I think that depends on the amp more than anything else. For solid state stuff. Like you said, even if something is a little bit noisy, that can usually be fixed with a noise gate pretty easily. I've plugged my solid state amps. And that old crate thing that I demoed, a few months back that pissed everybody off, and my Marshall Mode 4 that's got a solid state power section, stuff like that. I think a lot of it might have to do with just the amount of gain that both of those amps have, but they're not necessarily quieter than the tube amps. Name says, any alternative to sustainiac? No. I don't know. To my knowledge, sustainiac. If you want a sustainiac, it's sustainiac or bust. I don't think anybody else makes anything comparable to it. I think they've got a pretty strong patent on that, actually, specifically for that reason. I could be wrong about that, but sure seems like they do, because nobody else bothers to try to clone that or compete with that design. Gargoyle 84 says, "Did you ever play D&D when you were younger?" No, I did not. My friends talked me into it. Are all us metalheads nerds at heart? A lot of metalheads are nerds at heart, but I didn't. I never played D&D. Don't know the first thing about it. Marcus Fighter says, "Shit, now all of a sudden I'm losing track of where I am in the chat." Marcus Fighter says, "I love my Marshall JMP1 MIDI preamps to record directly to my DAW. JMP1s are great. I would actually really love to have one, but they're pricey. They're pricey and they're kind of hard to find. They're not hard to find. They're out there, but they're still pricey. So I don't have good monitors for my DAW, so maybe buy decent monitors. I don't know. I need a better sound. Monitors really aren't that expensive, to get good monitors. I mean, you can get yourself a pair of Cali Audios for 100, LP6s for $150 a piece, and those things sound like you paid $500 a piece for them. The only reason I didn't go with the Calis in here is because I didn't have room for them. I'm hoping that they've got a new model called the IN8s or I can't remember what they're called, what the model number is, but they're smaller, and that was actually my probably would have been my first choice for this desk, because I think they would have fit. However, they were out of stock, and Cali wasn't interested in any kind of deal with me at that particular point in time. Anyway, so that I ended up going with the KRK, these KRK Rocket 5s for the time being, and they've actually. I mean, I knew they sounded good, but they've surprised me. They actually sound a lot better than I thought that they were going to, and I historically I hate 5-inch monitors. I think they're too small, and there's no, they're just too flat sounding for my taste, but they've grown on me. And they like I said, they do sound pretty good. And these you can buy for, I don't know what if you wait for the right weekend, weekend sale coupon or something at whatever your favorite gear retailer is, you can probably get these for $150 or less a piece. So. JD Mopar says, "Robert, do you like Fishman Fluence pickups?" Not sure if this has been asked before. I've never gotten to try them, actually. I've been wanting to try these goddamn Fishman Fluence pickups that everybody's, going crazy over for the last several years. I've been wanting to try them since they came out, and I've yet to find, have a guitar cross my path that has them in it. So, I mean, it seems like it would be something that I would like. And probably would like quite a bit. I've got a feeling, once I finally do get to try them, I'm gonna like them. But I haven't been able to get my hands on a guitar that has them in it yet. So. Name says I use the sustain on my Big Muff currently, but it doesn't touch the sustainiac. Well, I mean, that's the sustainiac is meant for, literally, for long controlled sustains. That's what it's designed for. It's designed for control feedback, and that's what it does. So, it's the sustained control on a Big Muff isn't really quite the same thing. But if you want something with a sustainiac, my advice is buy a guitar that has it in it, because most guitar techs, while they can install them for you, I mean, I know guitar techs that charge $350 to put one of those things in, because there's so much going on with those things. If you crack open the back of look at the wiring on a sustainiac system, it's a freaking rat's nest on the inside of that thing. So one, you gotta find a guitar tech that knows what he or she is doing, and really knows how to put those things in. And number two, you gotta be willing to pay for it. And by the time you pay for it, you're almost better off selling the guitar you want to put it in, and taking all that money, throwing it towards a guitar that already has one. My knee shirt says, I just want to spend money once. I never sell stuff, so I like to research and buy once for life. I typically do the same thing. I mean, I generally don't sell gear very often. I have been here lately just because I've finally got to the point that I've just got too much, and and I need the space. So I've got to the point where I've finally begun to unload a few things, but generally speaking, I usually, if I buy it, I tend to hang on to it. So, kind of a hoarder in that respect, I guess. Joe Trey says, I bought a few used guitars from Guitar Center online the last couple of years. They post comes with case. Half of them didn't, so I ended up returning them. What's going on with them? That I don't know. I mean, if you bought it, blind on the website, you bought it on their website and basically went off of the description. I mean, in theory, you're right. Realistically, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. But I don't know. Sometimes it could be that whoever it is that confirms the order doesn't, they just confirm the order, find the guitar, take it to the back to get shipped out, and that's the last that happens of it. They didn't pay attention whether or not it came with a case. I don't know. If that happens, I mean, call the store that you bought it from, and if there's a case there for it, I mean, they'll box it up and ship it out to you. So it sucks that they didn't ship it with the guitar, but if the case shows up a few days later, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I would just talk to the stores that sold them to you. Call them and ask for the GMs. Oh, let's see. Man, you guys got chatty all of a sudden. Give me a second to get caught up. Mitchell Tilley says, speaking of Daytona, going to see Metallica at the Speedway in November. It's called Welcome to Rockville. 4 days, strange lineups though. Yeah, I've heard. There's been. They've announced that they're playing. They're playing that festival in like five different cities. I think the closest they're coming here is Louisville, which I may try to go to that. Robert, does Indian Laurel and Granadilla fretboard need to be oiled? Need to be oiled like I do on rosewood fretboards. I believe so. Yes. Basically, what the lemon oil does is, because in the instance of rosewood and similar woods, those are really, really porous. They're really porous and not the densest woods in the world. So, the purpose of oiling them is to keep them properly, properly moisturized, keep them from drying out, whereas, maple, on the other hand, maple is really, really dense. That's also why it's so much brighter. And because it's so dense, you don't want to oil it, because if you do, oil doesn't soak down into the pores like it does on those other woods. So, but those, well, I'm not too familiar with Indian Laurel and Grenadilla. I think they are, the porousness is real similar to rosewood, which means you would need to oil it. So, let's see. Charles 75 is here, and William Silva, etc. My niece her says, LOL at the fire pit thing. I cut up my couch and burnt the last of it 2 weeks ago with gas. Kaboom. Eyebrows are still growing in. Well, we finished a landscaping project in our backyard this week, and our back patio, which was just concrete slab, and that still is, but a slab and then grass, and that's it. So we extended our beds to go all the way around the patio, and then at the base of the patio, I built a fire pit inside the bed. I didn't. I guess the only real work I did was write the check, but that's what we had done. So, a little 3-4 foot fire pit, or however wide it is, and it's there for relaxation and zen, if you will. It's not for burning trash or anything. So it's not going to see anything. It shouldn't see anything anyway in the inside of it besides firewood. So, like I said, I'm going to christen that thing this evening. My Mrs. Jackson is out of town on vacation with her mom, so it's just me and Zoe. So I'm gonna fire up the grill and light up the tiki torches and fire up the fire pit and just chill. JD Mopars ads on live streams. I have no idea. None. Who knows what YouTube's doing these days? Memorial Day weekend, so I imagine they're probably pushing ads more than usual. I don't know. Blacktooth Fox is here. Good afternoon, sir. Gargoyle 84 says, "What's the funniest thing you've ever had happen at a gig?" Ooh. I'll be honest. Nothing really is coming to mind at the moment. I'm gonna have to give that some thought and get back with you. It seems like that's not the first time anybody's asked me that either. Let me give that some thought, and I'll get back to you. Literally nothing is coming to mind, which I suppose is a good thing. Most of my gigs most of the gigs I've played, I suppose, have been, relatively, uneventful and gone as smoothly as they were supposed to. Ghost Rider is here. Jack Roses is here. Says, Robert, what do you think of the JVM 410C 212 100-watt 4-channel tube combo? Oh man, what is there must be a run on Marshall JVMs at the moment. I have had, all of a sudden, there's a couple of people. I had one customer that's been emailing me and asking me questions about the JVMs for weeks now, and I guess, long story short, I really like the JVMs. The JVM's actually one of my all-time favorite Marshalls. I prefer the heads over the combos. The combos are, they're big and heavy to lug around, and not the 412 cabinets aren't, but I don't like lugging around 100-watt 212 combos. That's not fun for me at all. And the other thing is, I don't necessarily, the speakers that are in that combo are not necessarily what I would like to run that amp through. I prefer to run through a 1960 or, a 1960 vintage 30 cab or something like that. So, the combo, which, well, I guess you still can, but then all of a sudden, you paid more money for a combo that's got two speakers in it that you're not really using. I don't know. So yeah, combo's not for me. The combos also are a lot harder to sell. So when you do find them, they're usually cheaper. Because everybody wants the heads. So I just the combos are not my preference, but the JVMs as a whole, though, I really really like them. I think they're great amps. I prefer the 2-channel versions. The 4-channel is just way too much going on. There's nothing. There's nothing no tones that I can't get out of the out of the 4-channel that I can't get with the 2-channel. So with 3 modes on each independent channel, that is. So 2-channel for me, 100-watt head for me. But yeah, JVMs are awesome. Blacktooth Fox says, I had the most amazing luck yesterday. I bought a 78 manual Raimondo 145. A word I'm not going to say because I don't want to get demonetized. For £30, about 40 of your dollars. I'm still in shock. Nice, man. Sounds good. $40 for a 78 manual Raimondo. I think it's a classical guitar brand, right? So a higher end classical guitar brand. So if you got one of those for $40, not ain't bad. Philip G says, from the demos I've heard, the Fishman seem a little shrill on the top end, but that's listening through my phone. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard any actual demos of the Fishman pickups in a while, and the last time I did hear them, I couldn't tell you what I was listening to them on. I try not to, not to put too much. I try not to watch too many gear demos on my phone because, like you said, it's the speaker sucks on it and doesn't really tell you what you need to know, unless I'm wearing my headphones. So, and I lost my place. God damn it. You guys are talking pickups, etc., etc. Gargoyle 84 says, I love EMG 81s, but the 85 in the neck position is really bass heavy. Might switch that for a 60 for cleans. David Dillmore says, hello, first timer. What this? This is basically just a bunch of people hanging out, talking guitars and guitar gear, is what this is all about. So, let's see. JD Mopar says, this is the first live stream I've been on I've been in. YouTube keeps putting ads in. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with it. Yeah. You guys are talking pickups amongst yourselves. Jack Rosa says, what do you think of the Marshall? Oh, I just answered that question. YouTube even sent an email saying they were going to add more ads, even to accounts that are not monetized. I didn't think they were going to hit people's live streams as well. I got that same email. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. YouTube is all about, all about posting ads anywhere they can. I think what they're hoping to annoy people to the point that people sign up for their, the YouTube Red, the premium service, whatever the premium service thing is called. I don't know. I refuse to. I think I ought to get it for free because I make them far more. I make far more money for YouTube every month than what that membership, what that stupid thing would cost. So, there's no way I'm paying for it. Blacktooth Fox says, I stole sandwiches from Art Garfunkel's rider at the Millennium Music Festival in Chichester. He delayed playing for an hour because of it. No joke. And don't steal Art Garfunkel's lunch. That ain't cool. I saw the DSL 100 watts went up $100. Most everything's gone up here in the last couple of months. Between Boss had a price, Boss and Roland had a price increase across the board. Fender had a price increase. Marshall's had a slight price increase. None of them have been huge, by the way. They've all been pretty mediocre, and some companies have even announced that they're temporary. So, basically, it's people are. Companies are trying to make up for the losses from last year, so they can get back to zero, if you will. So I'm sure that's what a lot of that's what a lot of it has to do with. And now that manufacturing is falling behind, and the computer chip shortage, and the what's that, with the KDM factory in Japan or whatever it was, that burned to the ground last November, whatever that factory was called, that everybody gets all their parts from. There's been there's been quite a few blows to not just the MI industry. So Philip G says, what are your thoughts on the EVH Stealth in your past experience? How does it compare to a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier? Night and day, really. Dual rectifiers, I'm not a big dual rectifier fan, to be honest with you. I don't hate them. They sound pretty good, but, they've got, the bottom end on dual rectifiers is a little on the flubby side. And so I guess that never really bothered me too much because I tend to keep the bass turned down on those anyway, particularly running it through one of those, running it through an oversized rectifier cab. But the dual rectifier would have been the modern metal sound, of the late 90s and into the 2000s. But now, 10, 15 years later, the modern metal sound is, now kind of, been taken over by EVH. So, EVH, it's a little bit tighter sounding on the bottom and definitely brighter on the top end because, Mesa Boogie amps are kind of dark sounding anyway, dual Rex in particular. But, the EVH amps are a little bit brighter sounding, a little bit more modern sounding. Thunder Falcon says, I'm looking at a Jackson Soloist SL2M right now with my finger on the trigger. What's your thoughts on the quality of Jacksons lately? I haven't played any of the newer ones, but I don't know what concerns there might be. The SL2M, I'm not sure what that is, but if it's their, I've never seen a bad USA Jackson. So the SL, I know like the SL2Hs were the high end. The high end USA models. I'm not familiar with the M. I don't know what that stands for, but and Ben E in the super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Just a simple drop in the super chat. Nothing wrong with that. Serenity Guitar says Ola has Fishman. Some guitars. Who would you jam with? Who would I jam with? Man, I don't know. Pretty open-minded. I'll jam with anybody until I get bored with it. So what I hate doing is a bunch of people showing up in a room and plugging in and everybody just starts playing. And and then I can't stand it. I want structure. I want to be able to walk into a room and say, here's a riff that I wrote. I play this, you play this, you play this. Or somebody else walk into a room and do the same thing, or somebody say we need to practice this song, this cover song here, whatever it is. Like I said, I want structure. I don't want to walk into, a room and just wing it. That, it drives me crazy. It's a waste of my time. So, I know a lot of great music has been written that way. I'm not saying that it has its, not saying that it's a waste of everybody's time. But, for me, I like, when playing in a band setting, I like structure. David Dillmore says our Warmoth necks were really good for replacements and made in Mexico Strats. Warmoth necks are good replacements in anything. Warmoth neck is a good replacement on a PRS. Like I said earlier, Warmoth are known for some of the best fretwork in the business. They are those the Warmoth necks are really, really well made. Any suggestions on good 210 cabs? Ooh. 210 cabs. Panama used to make a couple of, I think they had a 210 cab there at one point, but, doesn't matter now because they're out of business. But you might be able to find one of those on the used market. Those are pretty decent. Though I can't tell you how well they would have held up long term. I can't tell you my 212 cab from them has not held up very well long term. And I never moved it anywhere either, by the way. 210 cab. I don't know. I'm not sure, 12s are the ideal speaker size for guitar, just for the, for frequency response that the instrument itself carries. 12s are generally the way to go. So, I myself, I don't care much for 10-inch speakers for guitar anyway. They're a little bit it's not a bottom end. I don't know who the Skater S dude is, but I about had enough of him. Thunder Falcon says your response to the gold top fuzz box last week was hilarious. Gold top fuzz box. Ghost Rider says my supergroup wish would be Eric Adams on vocals, Randy Rhoads, lead guitar, Jeff Hanneman on rhythm guitar, me on bass, Dave Lombardo on drums. Oh man, let's see, God, if I were gonna form a band like that, man, who would I? Billy Sheehan on bass. I would play rhythm. Billy Sheehan on bass, because there's not a better bass player, not a better rock bass player on the planet than Billy Sheehan. Lead guitar, probably have to, oh man, I don't know. My gut tells me, Steve Vai or, Steve Vai or Zach Wilde or Jerry Cantrell, maybe Petrucci, somebody like that. I don't know how I'd ever have to pick just one. I'd probably have to go Zach. Probably have to go Zach Wilde, I think. I can't hang with any of them, but I think Zach would be the most forgiving. Drums. Ooh, I may. Honestly, if I were on drums, I might go with Jeremy Spencer from Five Finger Death Punch, because that dude is a badass drummer. I know he's not with the band anymore, but he is badass. That band would not have been anything that they are without him. And it's just his drum lines added so much to that music. So, and vocals, ooh. Man, Jeff Scott Soto, Sebastian Bach, who else? Ronnie James Dio, there's a ton of great vocalists out there. Bruce Dickinson, probably be somebody like that I'd have to go with, power vocalist, real technical power vocalist type of singer. Mitchell Tilley says, I think I saw Ola do a review on a Jackson guitar. I believe it was Adrian Smith or something like that. Looked okay, hard to tell on phone. He did, and, as per typical Ola England, as per usual for Ola England, it sounded pretty killer in his video. But that Adrian Smith Jackson is, I remember when they came out back, what was it, 2011, 2012, something like that. The import versions at that time, they were $4.99. I don't know what they sell for now, but I sold a lot of them. They were actually, his assessment of them was spot on. There's nothing too flashy about the guitar itself, other than the signature that's on it. It's, for all intents and purposes, it's a Jackson Dinky with a Fender shaped headstock. And import Floyd Rose on it, and that's what it is. But even though the pickups I don't think are, I think they're import DiMarzios or something like that. Again, nothing too special, but they do sound really good. Again, for $500, there's not really much wrong with that guitar. Pretty tough to go wrong with that guitar. $500. Speaking of amps, why are none built with multi-size speakers generally? It's getting harder and harder nowadays. Amps are getting smaller and smaller. So multiple, building something with multiple sized speakers in it. Number one, it's a hard, that's a hard sell. Because again, most guitar players prefer 12-inch. 12-inch speakers, so try to get them into a 10 or a 15 or anything else is, it's, we know what we know, we like what we like, so, so it's kind of a tough sell. JG Mopar says, I just remember band practice plus a few hours of arguing and a half hour playing. Yeah, I've been to those bands before too, and I don't miss them for that reason. Ooh, pardon me. Guitar, my go-to amp are the amp and head of the 5150 head and PV 5150 head and PV amp. I'm assuming you're talking about a PV 5150. JG Mopar says mine's a PRS MT15 and a Mesa oversized cab. My go-to amp is either my Laney IRT Studio, the last few years anyways, it's been Laney IRT Studio or my Randall Diavolo, 100-watt head. It's still pretty tough to beat that Marshall JCM 900 back there behind me. So, but I haven't had a situation where I've, since COVID, I haven't had a situation where I've had to go to a go-to 100-watt head and been able to choose from the Windsor or the Blue Voodoo or the Mode 4. I know it's 350, but any of those other heads that I've since acquired. I bought all three of those last year, didn't I? Yep, I sure did. Wow. Vanity Guitars. Did y'all talk about David Ellefson? Not much to talk about. Not much to talk about. I mean, it's a pretty lousy situation for everybody. He made a, he made a bad choice, but it was, being that, those two consenting adults, the other consenting adult was not his wife, unfortunately. So I mean, he's definitely got some marital problems he's going to have to address. Unfortunately, it cost him his job. But I mean, beyond that, from a fan perspective, are we really going to see anything? Are we really going to see anything different from Megadeth? No. David Ellefson's opinion on matters in Megadeth carried about as much weight as any other Megadeth member's opinion on matters that was not named Dave Mustaine, and that is precisely zero. So we all know who writes the songs and who makes all the calls and who Megadeth is Dave Mustaine. We all know that, and that's never going to change. So, I mean, think about it. I mean, David Ellefson left the band back in the 2000s, was gone for for 5 or 6 years, and half of us didn't even know it. So I'm sorry to hear that he's gone. I've always been a David Ellefson fan. I'm sorry to hear about all the stuff that happened to him. Who knows? Maybe after he stays away from it, for a while, and things cool down, in the media, maybe they'll bring him back. I don't know. That's always a possibility. God knows WWE's brought Hulk Hogan back, a gazillion times. So, after things in the press died down. So, it could be that, that's what they're doing. Maybe they're just taking a break for a couple of years and letting things die down and talk about bringing it back. I don't know. Or maybe he's gone for good. Who knows? But my understanding is, David Ellefson's always been a great guy, and, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him. So, other than this thing going on here, so. Savannah Guitar says, who would you put to play with Megadeth, Newsted or Trujillo? Probably Newsted. Well, if it's Metallica era Newsted, he's come out and said since then, since he left Metallica, he's come out and said that he's not able to play like that anymore. So he's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as you got to be in pretty good shape, to play that kind of metal, particularly live. So. And apparently he's not there anymore. I don't know what he's been doing. I know he filled in with Ozzy for a little bit not long after he left. After he left Metallica, and, he's done a few other side, personal project things for himself. Which is it's what he does. He's a musician, but I don't know of any real mainstream stuff that he may have done since then. So, Trujillo. Metallica seem very, very happy with Rob Trujillo. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But so I don't know. I guess in a perfect world, who would I put in Megadeth to play bass? I don't know. That's tough, actually. My instinct says Billy Sheehan or Steve Harris. Nobody's better than those two guys, but from a personality perspective, from a dynamic perspective, I don't think either one of those guys would enjoy, would get too much enjoyment out of taking a gig where their job is to shut up and play what they're told to play. Steve Harris is. Steve Harris. Maiden is Steve Harris's band. He's the guy that has makes most of the decisions, and he steers the boat for Iron Maiden. Not Megadeth, Iron Maiden. Steve Harris steers the boat for Maiden, and Billy Sheehan steers the boat for whatever just about whatever band he's playing in at the time. So. I don't know. I'm not sure who I would who I think might be a good fit. Chris Cale would be a good fit. Guy from Five Finger Death Punch. Well, no, he wouldn't, because Dave again runs a pretty tight ship, and I don't think he'd go for Chris Cale's crazy ass beard. I don't know. He'll likely pluck somebody out of, he'll hold auditions, and he'll end up hiring somebody that's a badass bass player that we've never heard of. I'm quite sure that's what's going to happen. That's how Kiko Luro got the gig in that job. That's how Chris Broderick got the gig in that band before that. Nobody had ever heard of any of those guys until they were in Megadeth. Metal Base 1000 says Megadeth drummer Dirk Verburen was in Soilwork. He's incredible. Is that their current drummer? I mean, God, their last drummer I was aware of was Sean Drover. Ooh, if you had your wish band, who would you pick as opening act? Oh boy, that I don't know. So my pick would be Rammstein. Rammstein would be cool, man. Rammstein puts on a hell of a show. Rammstein's opening show, Not sure. Ted Nugent, maybe? Poison? I'm thinking of bands that I've seen that got, that I've seen live that have incredible live shows. That would serve as an opening. But your Kiss is not going to be an opening act. Kiss is probably the best live show on the planet that I've ever seen. Though Metallica, last time I saw Metallica was up there too. But those are two of the biggest bands ever. They're not going to be anybody's opening act. OGOG says, did Digitech/DOD just discontinue another batch of some pedals or something like that? Not that I've heard. Not that I'm aware of, but could very well be. Harman doesn't seem to be doing much of the Digitech brand these days, especially since they let go of Tom Cram, or they, I don't know if they let him go or they laid him off. I don't know what it was, but when the Tom Cram era ended, they have done next to nothing with the Digitech line altogether. I don't understand. I don't know what their strategy behind that is at all, because they had Tom Cram had just revived it after it had been in trouble for quite some time. So I don't know. Geddy Lee, you may laugh, man. Geddy Lee is that dude is one talented musician. If you never saw Rush live, they were a 3-piece band, but you got to think Geddy Lee in particular, would play bass, play keys, and sing. Oftentimes all three at the same time. And then he would even pick up an acoustic guitar, play acoustic, from time to time throughout the set. So Geddy Lee is a very, very talented musician. And I've seen Rush so many times, though. I mean, I've got a pretty strong appreciation for them. I love Rush. I think they're a great band. I've always loved Rush. I was real sad to hear when Neil Peart passed last year. David Dillmore says, been fun here. Don't see too many guitar live streams. Most live hosts don't answer many questions. This is basically this is the primary Q&A question on this channel. Sometimes I'll do a Q&A video. But let's face it, that's mostly me slaying trolls. So yeah, this when I first started doing live streams, I wasn't real sure what I wanted to do. I just kind of figured out how to set it up. I had a cheap webcam and turned it all on, and and just kind of played it by ear. And then next thing I know, the chat started filling up with questions, and that's just kind of seemed to be the thing to do. It's basically it's I got to admit, I kind of stole the format a little bit from Pete Thorne, because this is real similar to what he does on his live streams. Granted, his audience is much larger, and he's far more talented than I am, but and had far more experience. But yeah, that's just kind of what it morphed into. So I play guitar and do stuff with gear in just about all my other videos. So this is an opportunity for me to just interact directly with people that have supported me over the years and continue to do so. So JG Mopar says, Steve Harris looks like a solid guy and nice too. I remember when I was at the store, there used to be an inner store messaging system that all the employees had access to. And there used to be, anytime somebody cool or somebody famous came into the store, you get to send out an email to the entire company saying celebrity sighting. One of them in particular that stood out that I read, this dude, I can't remember what store it was at now. I think New York somewhere maybe. And this guy said, I'd never send these things out, but this one was big enough that I absolutely had to. He said, I just sold a guitar to none other than, than the legendary Steve Harris of Iron Maiden. So, and apparently, because I called the dude because I had to know, so I called the dude and asked for him directly, and I said, was he cool? What was he like? He said he was a super, super cool dude, and he told me he'd been fielding phone calls from people from other stores, Maiden fans from other stores all day long after he sent that out. So, but yeah, my understanding is he's a pretty good dude. OG says, my super group, Metallica. I will play tambourine. I want writing royalties too. Les Claypool and Megadeth. I don't know. I mean, Les Claypool. Les Claypool's a little too. He's a little weird. So you got to remember. I mean, he auditioned for Metallica. And Metallica passed on him. So, but they didn't pass on him because he was weird. I think they passed on him because honestly I think that they felt that Les Claypool may have even been like a notch or two above everybody else in the band. Whatever it was, they just didn't feel like he was the best fit for him. And who else did they audition? They auditioned Twiggy Ramirez from Marilyn Manson, which I thought that dude was a guitar player, but hell, if you got an opportunity to get into Metallica, an audition for Metallica, you can play whatever the hell the instrument they need you to play. I would do so too. Geezer Butler. Geezer Butler actually was a really good bass player. Try to learn, pick a Sabbath song like War Pigs or something like that. Learn to play War Pigs or something like that on bass. And, he's pretty good. Pardon me. JD Mopar says Iron Maiden, awesome live shows. That I agree. I've seen them twice. And their live act is another one of those is pretty tough to top. The last time I saw them, they came out and it was their first tour after Bruce Dickinson had what was it, tongue cancer, throat cancer, something like that. He had maybe I don't know. It was his first tour after recovering from cancer. And he came out. They came out. They played like 2 or 3 songs, and and then usually like a lot of live bands, you go see them live. They'll play 2 or 3 songs. Then the front man will stop and address the crowd and say a few things, and they go back to play, and they play a few more songs, and then and then the front man goes back and addresses the crowd again with something else, and lather, rinse, repeat for an hour and a half or so, and there's the show. In this instance, though, they came out, they played about 3 songs. Bruce Dickinson spent the next 5 or 10 minutes addressing the crowd with a number of things, and that was it. That was the last thing he said. They spent the remaining, had to be at least an hour and a half, if not 2, at least an hour and a half playing music. He didn't stop and say one word other than, if he wasn't singing it. For the rest of the show, it was kind of strange. I kind of wished he would have, just because I enjoy listening to. I enjoy when frontman, stops and addresses the audience and interacts with us. Kind of, it's a little bit more of a personal kind of experience for me as a fan of the audience. But Also kind of, they also serve as pretty solid breaks along the way for, if you're, if your ears are bleeding, and you kind of want to give them a rest. Another good reason. So, but Iron Maiden didn't do that. It was a great show. It was a fantastic show, but that was a little bit different. I'd never seen anybody do that before. Ted Nugent. Wow, he's still a powerful player, and we ain't kids anymore. Old Uncle Ted's pretty awesome, dude. Uncle Ted, and you're right, he still puts on a hell of a live show. Doesn't do it as often as he used to anymore, but, from a music perspective, I'm not, from a music perspective, his politics, I'm not talking about his politics, because some people agree with him, some people don't. I'm not going to say where I land on that, but, as a musician, Ted Nugent's pretty badass. My opening act would be prime Elvis, be all babes in the audience. There you go, strategy. Stay curious. The shingles sucks. I hope you will never experience what I've experienced this week. I have never experienced that, fortunately, but I'm sorry to hear that you are going through it. My understanding is that is no fun. Mm-hmm. Timothy Plonk says, feel horrible. Gotta go, by the way. Would have supported the channel today, more guitars and amps. We'll support next week. Robert, everybody have a great weekend and crank it up. Awesome. Thank you, Timothy. You have a great rest of your holiday weekend. Assuming you're here in the U.S. and it is a holiday weekend for you. So that's also what I'm going to go and do, is enjoy the rest of my holiday weekend. So, signing off. New video coming out tomorrow morning, I think. Should be. And I don't know. Maybe I might push that off, and I might delay that until Monday. Just because tomorrow's a holiday, and videos tend to tank on holidays. So, well, I guess Monday's actually the holiday, but I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it alone. I guess I haven't decided. Yeah, plan on seeing it tomorrow morning. If you don't, then that means that I moved it. So, anyway, everybody, have a great weekend, and, go grill some food and drink some beer or whatever it is that you do, and enjoy family and all that stuff. So, I'm out.